Ukraine is 29 already.
It's such a wonderful feeling of unity with the people of your country and of that sublimity.
Yet we understand that the legislators calculated the cost of this decision in the rating points on the eve of local elections. Hello world! It's Kyiv, not Kiev on the line.
And we are so happy you joined us today to hear the most important and interesting news from Ukraine for this week.
My name is Tatiana Haiduk, that's my fellow and friend Polina Boychuk.
And we are ready to start. Keep watching.
On August 24, on Monday, Ukraine celebrated the Independence Day. Ukraine is 29 already.
Yeah, the Independence Day is not just a national holiday for Ukrainians. At a time when the state is resisting the armed aggression of Russia, independence is taking on a new meaning for each of us. Because the struggle for independence continues every day.
The official celebration began with honoring the memory of the fallen defenders of Ukraine. Traditionally, the festive prayer for peace and blessing of Ukraine took place in St. Sophia's Cathedral. This is the oldest Ukrainian church built in the 11th century.
Yeah. At the same time, there was no traditional military parade this year, but as it was last year, the volunteers organized and held the March of Defenders of Ukraine.
Tens of thousands of people who came to the capital from different parts of Ukraine, veterans, volunteers, civic activists, and just proud Ukrainians, marched through the city from Taras Shevchenko National University to the Independence Square, the main square of the capital. The march lasted for about 4 hours and became the biggest people's celebration of Ukraine's Independence Day in 2020.
Yeah, I was there, and it's such a wonderful feeling of unity with the people of your country and of that sublimity. There were so many participants in the march, and people just shouted thank you to the defenders, and we applauded to the veterans, and it was so very touching.
I understand what you're talking about. Every time I see something like that it makes me so proud.
Same. But just for your information, the Independence Day was not that unambiguous this year. While people were holding the march, an official solemn ceremony took place in the Sofia Square in the area that was completely blocked by the police that morning. The ceremony provoked a very ambiguous reaction in the society.
And we'll tell you why. Because following the President Zelensky's speech, 19 Ukrainian pop stars performed 42 songs, each of which represented a certain stage in the musical history of independent Ukraine. As usual, tastes differ. Someone was delighted with the show, while many people condemned the performance for it being vulgar and low-cultured.
What people didn't like, and me neither, is the appearance of the performance and the choice of the songs, some of which were in Russian. In Russian, when we are fighting for our independence with Russia. That's unbelievable. But the main claim was that all this hilarious performance was very dissonant with the actual agenda of Ukraine. I don't understand how come half-naked pop stars can happily dance in the Sofia Square when there is a march of thousands in the Khreshchatyk street in which many children are carrying the portraits of their parents who died in the ongoing war.
Yeah. People celebrated the Independence Day of Ukraine not only in Kiev. The marches of defenders were held also in Lviv and Odessa, and the honoring of the national symbols took place in every Ukrainian city and town and village. Ukrainians abroad, the diasporas, also celebrated.
No, I think that the whole world celebrated the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, and the bridges across the Bosphorus, as well as the world's tallest telecommunications tower in Kuala Lumpur, shown blue and yellow, shown the colors of the Ukrainian flag, and that was very nice and touching.
On Tuesday, the Ukrainian parliament voted for the increase of the minimum salary in Ukraine. As of September 1st, 2020, it is to amount to 5,000 hryvnias. That's about $180 actually. Thus, the minimum wage increased by only $10. So is that a lot?
Well, it depends. If we consider the decision from the perspective of an employee, it's not that much, especially given the inflation. You can just miss the increase you just got. But from the perspective of an employer who's paying taxes, it seems quite a lot. The thing is that small businesses and real estate taxes are always tied to the minimum wage. And to handle with the tax burden, some businesses will have to raise prices for the goods or services they provide, cut jobs, or pay salaries in envelopes. Some will have to reduce investments.
And if we know that the increase in the minimum wage also conflicts with Ukraine's commitments to the IMF, then this decision can, and I bet it will, cost the state too much. Yet we understand that the legislators calculated the cost of this decision in the rating points on the eve of local elections.
Ukrainian economists in the parliament received greetings from the United States.
Thus, the chairman of the Economic Committee of the Parliament, Dmytro Natalucha, received a letter from Daniel Maleny, Assistant United States Trade Representative for Europe and the Middle East, Office of the United States Trade Representative, reads one of the top Ukrainian media outlets, Європейська Правда.
European truth.
Yeah, the copies of this letter have been sent out to the Speaker of the Parliament and to Vice Speakers, as well as to the Prime Minister of Ukraine and the Minister of Economy.
Yeah, the thing is that Mr. Natalucha is the author of a bill that changes the rules of public procurement in the field of mechanical engineering. The bill also got the name of the law on localization, or by Ukrainian too. Earlier, it was repeatedly discussed that this bill violates the association agreement between Ukraine and the EU. So the EU openly criticized the one. And now the American partners of Ukraine have also decided to remind that it contradicts the conditions of Ukraine's membership in the WTO. And they softly hinted that its adoption could bring Ukraine considerable problems overseas. So far, they have just hinted softly.
We hope that Ukrainian parliamentarians know the price of Ukraine's international obligations. So the greetings from the US will reach its recipient.
At the beginning of this week,
Heiko
Maas, the Federal Minister for Foreign Affairs of Germany, paid a working visit to Ukraine.
It is very symbolic that this visit fell on the Independence Day of Ukraine. Germany has long and consistently been a reliable friend of Ukraine and has always supported the desire of Ukrainians to defend our independence and sovereignty.
Yeah. Mr. Maas met with President Zelensky and also held a joint press conference with Dmytro Kuleba. This is the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and the priority in the talks is peace in Donbass. The preparations for the meeting in the Normandy format at the level of foreign ministers is now underway, and the meeting is to take place this September.
President Zelensky recorded an English-language video address to the world community in which he talks about the new Ukrainian reality.
Ukraine is where you can still make real discoveries. Ukraine is a frontier.
In particular, Ukraine is no longer a country of poverty and corruption, as it was called earlier, but a new technological center of the world, a breadbasket of Europe, with the most fertile lands, with a huge tourist and investment potential.
Yeah, this video turned out to be the launch of a large-scale information campaign aimed at the restart of the Ukraine Now brand. This campaign will show a new Ukraine to the world, Ukraine that has dynamic economy and progressive business that is able to offer so many interesting opportunities to the whole world.
Let us remind you that in our previous interviews we discussed the image and brand of modern Ukraine with the Deputy Foreign Minister Amina Japarova. Definitely worth seeing if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah. As promised by the President's office as part of the campaign to restart the Ukraine Now brand, world-class celebrities will also record their video appeals to the international community.
And Polina and I have already done it, even not waiting for the initiative from the presidential office. Enjoy watching in just a couple of seconds.
These were Polina Boychuk and Tetiana Hajduk.
Remember, it's Kyiv, not Kiev, and see you soon.
From Ukraine with love. Upheavals and instability.
War,
Chernobyl.
beautiful women,
Botch.
corruption.
Kyiv.
Sometimes things look different from the inside.
Ukraine of today and tomorrow is about dignity,
Courage,
freedom,
hospitality,
beautiful people.
potential.
And we are here to open Ukraine with you.
And to keep you updated on everything happening here.
Hello world, it's Kiev.
Not Kiev.
And we are happy you joined us today.
My name is Tetiana Hajduk.
My name is Polina Boychuk.
Let's get started.